Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in today, all you lovely, awesome, superhuman, amazing people. Welcome into today's episode 188. And today we are sharing with you the sad and tragic news that Moto and Paras went home on Lego Masters. And today we have the interview with them. Some really good questions, and you really get a sense that, well, they are completely different than what they're portrayed on the show. Is the sense that I got having to talk to them. And I will tell you this, they probably could have talked for another hour easy. And I would have had plenty of questions and just kind of bantered back and forth with him. But we didn't have that much time. So let's jump into the interview, and I hope you guys enjoy and learn something new about these two lovely characters. Moto and Paras, sorry to see you guys here. I know, we say that every week, but I'm really sad to see you guys go. But I'm really excited to talk to y'all. So last night in particular, you guys randomly ended up with the color tan, and you turned a fairly boring color into something that was quite extravagant. So what was the biggest problem that you guys had to work through during the construction of that wild looking sombrero serpent safari type hat?
Yeah, Paras, why don't you go first?
Okay, sure. Well, let's see. The entire show is about bringing, engineering or technical ability, as they say, with creativity and storytelling all together. Creating that hat, at least for me, was the most difficult build I've ever had to try to undertake. And given, especially on top of the time pressure, the cameras, the lights, and seeing everybody else's build and their extraordinary levels of creativity, it's amazing. As we say, we tried our best. I think Moto and I have talked about it quite a bit, actually, because we're learners and we try to learn from experience, right? The snake with the head was definitely top heavy, and the rim of the hat was malleable. Putting the two together was a challenge, and especially when you start walking down a runway, when you start lifting it, when you start imposing inertia from these different pieces, it's a lot to expect for that thing to stay together the way we had done it.
Yeah, the Brickmasters talked about the integration. I think that's exactly where you saw it fail. So it's where the Technic components met the top of the hat to the sides to the brim. So the physical part that's on top of your head, integrating the post and then the mesh framework sitting on the brim, that was the difficult part. And that's exactly where it split when you saw me pick it up and it dropped. Yeah. So that was obviously the difficult part, because that's where it failed.
Yeah, it looked rough for you guys to undergo that process at that point in time. So Paras, what you're talking about with the lights and everything like that. So how was the inclusion of having a timer being placed on you and the lights and the camera and all this stuff? How did that affect, or how did that change the way you guys really built for each challenges? Because you're talking something you could have 12 hours, you could have only a few hours. So how did the implementation of a timer change you guys?
Yeah, great question. I've said it multiple times, and I'll continue to say it. I hate that clock. As you guys know, Moto is fantastic. His artistic ability is incredible, and his builds that he's done are just amazing. And I know that Moto would tell you, he has spent 200 to 300 hours on some of those builds. That is just not a luxury we have on Lego Masters. And so, you need to have all of your capabilities, and you have to have had already your experiences with you. It's not a learning opportunity in that time frame. It's more about execution and bringing out whatever we have with us in that time. So yeah, and I mean, again, you add the stress not only of the time, but it's a new experience. I mean, I don't think I have the face for being an actor, but or it's certainly not the body, that's for sure. But all of a sudden you're in this extraordinary place. It's like this beautiful blue arena of the Lego Olympics, if you will, and the cameras, the lights, all of it. It's just amazing. It's an incredible experience, but it impacts you,
Yeah, I would say that for me, competitive speed building, the point I wanted to get across is competitive speed building is very different than artistic mock building. Paras mentioned that a lot of this stuff comes in at 80, 100 hours, maybe more. And when you have a 10th or a 20th of that time, competitive speed building is very much going back to basics, using basic brick connections that are strong, and then layering in whatever additional details you want. So there's a lot of tactics and study that can go into it. This interview is not long enough to go into that, but really competitive speed building is its own sub niche and specialty of building, Lego and Lego creations. So it's really cool. You just, like, I had to sit down and completely retune the way I built going into it, and flipping from that and back takes some time, but it is a specialty. And luckily, I think, all the teams you're seeing are using those skills very well. It's a high bar across the entire season.
I would agree. It's only gotten higher.
Yeah.
So last week you talk about the bar up there. Last week you guys were one of the top teams. That thing withstood, the worst of the worst. And this week you guys are here with us. I know, sadly. Can you talk about the emotional highs and lows that you guys endured throughout this competition?
Sure. I'll start first this time. So every challenge presented is a gift, but it is a Pandora's box of a gift that when you open it, you realize there's all sorts of problems hiding in there that you're going to have to work through. So some difficulties and successes are kind of hand in hand. I think about the first episode, the gearbox was really rough to get together, but somehow we pulled off, some really good motions, some good styling with the robots. I'd say the hero shot challenge was pretty incredible, learning how to take an explosion and make a shaped charge, to throw a rainbow up. I thought that was pretty fun and incredible, but it took a lot of work. A lot of great detail from Paras on the lower half and the tree and all the character design that went into that. And then the shake challenge was, I wish I could celebrate it by being in the top 3, but it was such a cosmetic wreckage that it was hard to really count that as a win when it was that bad off. So it was a mixed bag. I was very happy that, the structure we built was, really, really tough. Probably the most durable one there, but to shed off all that stuff we tacked on just to get it complete was not a great victory. It was rather hollow. But leading into this one, I really was happy and celebrated the fact that our hat just looked incredible. It didn't look like anything else. It had a fabric component. I think the character of the snake was really iconic. Good stance, good pose, looked amazing. Had a lot of NPU, which I was trying to work in for all the challenges that finally came together. So yeah, and then it ultimately catastrophically disintegrated. So that was the bummer. So it's kind of all over the place. You kind of take each challenge as you can and then make it work.
The skyscraper was, at least for me, we're pretty confident of its structural integrity. It was a challenge for us. I mean, we just felt like, at least for me, I felt that we had to win that one. I mean, otherwise I would have wasted a few $100,000. So so I definitely had that pressure. Aesthetically, yeah, it was not our best. It was awful. I think I said that on the interview too. And so is what it is. But Moto and I reflected a lot on that experience, and we decided we didn't want to have to rush at the end. We wanted to be able to show our best, given the time. And so with the hat, we were done. We had time to test it a bit, walk around with it a bit. We were pretty happy with how it looked at the end, and it was unfortunate, that it unexpectedly just broke at right when Moto picked it up and was ready to put it on the top of my head. there was a lot of emotions going on at that time. I did not want to go out onto that runway.
No, but do you remember what I
didn't wanna
told
go
you
at
when I
all.
pulled you close and started to put the hat on?
You tell me again. I don't remember exactly the words. It was just
So I think the mic was covered, but I grabbed you and I pulled you close and I said, look, you wanted to be the model to represent yourself and your community and your daughter.
yeah,
So make your daughter proud. Just get to the end. And it's
yeah,
okay if you let it go and it blows up. Just get to the end of the runway and I'll let you go. We got it on you and you went and you did it.
yeah. That's right. So Moto, as he can, as he's just telling you, and the other castmates, they really rallied around me during that moment. I just felt a lot of the love, and I just felt like I had to. I just felt I wanted to finish, come what may, c'est la vie, and I remember I put the remnants of the hat there on, and just waited and paused before I stepped out. Took a deep breath, got my pose, and
We've heard from some of the other contestants about the relationships that are built between you and your partner or other people. Are there any relationships that you guys are going to be taking away from this experience that you plan on, keeping in contact with anybody from the show or just kind of in general?
The answer is simply yes. We have a messaging app. We use it every single day, and there's a given day around any random topic about new content that's been posted. We keep an eye out, or any new videos about the show, but also just as we build along in our own lives in separate ways, and of course, celebrating all the wonderful things that are happening to all the cast members as they proceed on, and then working through all the conventions that we're going to attend. So we haven't said we're not seeing each other again. We're having a lot of great abilities to see each other in the future, and that's going to be exciting. So yeah, we're basically a family at this point, and it's great to have a bunch of brothers and sisters from across the U.S.
Yeah, and I don't think we use the word family lightly. All of us use it for this experience. It's just amazing. I mean, I don't know that I would have expected that to happen. It's just such a rarefied experience and intense experience. And I don't know how to describe it, but he's absolutely correct. Moto's a brother of mine now, and for better or worse for him.
Well, also, I'll say it goes beyond season 2. We also have the ability to talk to and communicate with all the season 1 cast members as a larger cast, and then even there's a global group. So being able to fan zone out with all of the Australian, cast members that we've watched and enjoyed, or Britain, or around the world, Belgium, wherever you want to talk about, but having that entire Lego Masters family worldwide is pretty amazing.
Yeah, we have this exclusive Facebook group. It's just for alumni of Lego Masters. And it's just an immediate bond that I certainly feel, and it's fantastic. Couldn't buy that.
Well, I appreciate your time, guys. Some really good questions, and I wish you all the best in whatever endeavors you take on in the Lego realm.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, perfect. This is such a heartbreaking time to talk to you both, because I was definitely rooting for you both during this season. It's a really competitive season, so you guys did an unbelievable job. The one thing I wanted to ask about first was something we talked about earlier in our preseason interview, was about how you guys were relatively new to building with each other, and throughout the different challenges, we sort of saw this divide and conquer strategy. I'm curious to get your thoughts, maybe more specifically, if you could bring a little bit more of that to life for us who like to get into the nitty gritty and the behind the scenes. Was this, how did you guys think about the challenges and dividing the different tasks and, the division of labor of it all? Because it sort of felt like, especially in this last challenge, even in the skyscraper one, there's all these like components that Paras is responsible for, like, the mechanism for the robot, and parts that you were responsible for. And maybe that's contributed to some of this kind of dissonance that we saw for how the things actually fit together. I'm curious just to get your thoughts, some of the things we didn't see.
Yeah, no question that, I certainly wish we had a lot more time just to learn about each other. You get a comfort. You look at Maria and Philip. They can finish each other's sentences for sure. Not that I want to get married to Moto. I'm just saying that, So yeah, we would have benefited from more time, but that wasn't an option. And and so we tried to move forward with what we had and the time we had, and so that's what we did. And so our inclination was to do a division of labor and try and bring it together.
Yeah, and I think it went beyond just the division of labor. So when I thought of it, it was always like first figuring out what skills matched the challenge and trying to pair that strength together. So in some of the challenges, Paras really took the lead on being the project manager and sort of coordinating the overall story and the approach and just thematically how it's going to come together, or even the components and how they're going to design and be assembled. In other cases, it was me trying to be the team lead and drive, the outcome. So there was always one clear leader amongst us, overseeing and kind of making tough decisions just for the sake of time. And then it got down into the assignment of, who would do what and then how to integrate it. And it is tough because you can't see inside of each other's heads. So you do see that communication of not understanding or stumbling or you're out of pattern of tasks and labor, but also division responsibilities. And we kept trading off. I think you'll even see the person who's narrating the story at the end during the judging alternated between Paras and myself, just like Amy and Jamie alternate between who gives the bad news at the end of each episode. So, that was part of the team dynamic as well.
Yeah, we did have a number of days for quarantine, and Moto and I took advantage of that as much as we could. And we reflected on every single build that was had been done to that point around the world in all the different Lego Masters, and we at least had the opportunity to sort of write down our ideas and come to what would we have done in that situation. So we had some of that going into it, and we had the idea of the honeycomb for the eventual engineering structural kind of build, for example. So we certainly had a lot of that we could build on. And also, I would say that for me, I had done my research on Moto's abilities, and I wanted to support him and elevate his artistry as much as I possibly could by interjecting my engineering skill set. That was my goal. I tried.
Well, and it definitely showed. Honestly, there's a lot of respect, I think, between the two of you, and really a respect for the competition. Moto, when you left, you were saying, play well, which we obviously know is the iconic Lego phrase. But tell me just what it meant to you to be part of this competition, this high-level Olympics, like you called it, Paras. I'm curious just to get your thoughts on what all this meant to you.
Well, for me, it was the opportunity of a lifetime. And to do it is to do it. I didn't do it for the award. It would have been nice trophy and all that, but I really did it because I wanted to see what the challenge was and to try to build to it. Across all of it too, it's about, I don't think representation is the right word. I'll try to just cover it with some general statements. So for me, whenever I woke up, no matter how exhausted, no matter how every molecule of my legs or feet were completely, utterly destroyed at the end of every day, it was about knowing that there were thousands of AFOLs, probably including yourselves, that would have traded the position for mine in an instant. So with that responsibility, it was necessary for me to just keep grinding away every day to the maximum effort that I could put forward, because it wasn't just about myself as a builder. It's about something greater. It's about trying to represent the entire community of builders who had gone through casting and hadn't made it. And for some reason, I'm here, and I know that anyone would trade places in a moment. So to do the best that I could do and to put the maximum effort forward seemed about the right thing to do for anybody who's going to be watching the show, anybody who's been in AFOL or anybody who will be in AFOL, to get inspired and get out there and love this thing that we all love. And I don't say goodbye as play well just as a token. I do it all the time, because for me, it's a philosophy and it's a way to live your life. And I think you could see it from the cast that I had done everything to my greatest ability to really embody that. And I think all the contestants do that, is to be not just representatives for the Lego community, but in this competition to bring forward the greatest parts of what we can be as people and with the elements. So hopefully that made a difference, and I'm glad you noticed.
Yeah, definitely. I started a nonprofit to provide, STEAM education to kids and adults. So I'm pretty well known, relatively well known, certainly in the children community and education community in Connecticut. So I'm all about the kids. I mean, ever since I had my daughter, that's, I don't, my own accolade, they just don't matter as much to me. So I'm just about inspiring as many kids as I can to pursue STEAM education, to try new things, to love and learn new things, And well, geez, I mean, how can you have a much bigger opportunity to impact people than this? And it was just an incredible experience. I always knew that. Even I didn't think I'd still get selected all the way until the end, really. But I always knew that if I did, it was going to be an extraordinary time, and that one that I would try to enjoy it to the absolute maximum I could. So I think I did that, and yeah, I think it was definitely a highlight of my life for sure.
No, I love that. And it came across on the show, so don't worry about that. My next question is really though around, what do you think that someone who's thinking about applying, to your point, Moto, a lot of people want to get a chance to be on the show for a future season. What do you think they need to keep in mind, just given everything that you've learned and the lessons you've learned on the show?
Man, if I had the answer, everybody would succeed and be on the show.
True.
I can say that you can be a very, very good builder. I do think you need to be a unique mock builder. I think you need to have a vision and build in a distinct and different way. I think we all see there's a lot of commonality when you look at mocks. There's common communities of interest, things of that nature. But to kind of stand out and be different, you do need to sort of build differently. I'd also look at your life and your background. Understand who you are, understand that you're a valuable person, but try to describe it in a way that's compelling to others. I also think that you have to have a good comfort with the camera, and you have to have a good comfort and chemistry with a crew and also with your building partner, as well as a cast that you'll eventually be part of. Because it is national television, and it's not a time to all of a sudden shut down and freak out. You got to be comfortable around cameras and sort of learn to avoid them. And, whatever social media platform you want to start practicing on, that's a great way to start. And you just work your way through and you work your way up with experience over time. But, it's kind of a combination of chemistry as well as building, as well as, facing Clockzilla in the face and staring it down. So there's a lot more that could be said about that, but that's kind of the basics, I suppose.
Yeah. So I'd say I was having a discussion with another interviewer a few days ago, and we were talking about how success is 50% perseverance and 50% luck. And I think that, at least from my perspective, I've been working on this stuff for 5 years, solid, and have contract with Lego. We sell Lego product. We use Lego in everything that we do because it's the best product and best teaching tool. And then lo and behold, I get a call from the casting crew of Lego Masters. That wouldn't have happened if I already hadn't had this history. And so and you have to be in a position to take advantage of the opportunity when it comes. And thankfully, I was able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And then my final question is just, was there something in the competition that you were waiting for? Obviously, you've already gotten to show off a lot of your engineering skills with the skyscraper challenge, but was there some challenge you were waiting for that you just wish would have come up while you were on the show?
Yeah, I'm going to have to trim my answers back because I know I'm coming up on time, but rapid fire, the answer is yes. I'm hoping for a theme build, and I believe I would know what that theme is. The preview for the next belt, the hanging brick challenge, that is something that I really, 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 really want to do, to the point where I'm building my own mock to solve it. So it's not like, even though I'm not on the show, I'm not going to take some of these challenges on. Some of them are just too creative for me to ignore. So yeah, I'm sure as time goes on too, I'm going to see more of these challenges come up and, do my own special take on it, try to solve it my own way. Because I think they're fascinating.
Yeah, I do too. The amount of effort they go into, thinking up these challenges is quite a lot. You can see my ice cream cone up there that I'm working on. And I have a mobile. Moto gave me the idea of creating a mobile during quarantine, and so I've been working on something like with that. I don't think I was able to really show what I'm capable of. but that's okay. I mean, I think that's I guess that would be the biggest regret, is not having that ability to do that during the time that I was there. So yeah, so definitely I'm looking forward to the next few certainly episodes to see what they everybody underwent, and I'll be making my own version of those as well for sure.
Well, perfect. We can't wait to see him on social media, but thanks to you both and hope to talk to you guys again soon.
Hi.
How are you?
So I guess you've already talked a little bit about the strategies that you used in your challenges with division of labor and such. But if you could go back to the start of the show, would you give yourself different advice on what your strategy should be?
I don't think I would. I think that, yeah, if I was in some infinite time loop, like Doctor Strange, and doing it over and over again, sure, I'd keep improving until I beat the snot out of this thing. But realistically, the fun of it is you only get one chance and there's a surprise in there.
Sure.
So I wouldn't give that up.
I don't know strategically would have changed anything. I think, I mean, you don't know what experiences you would need in the situation until you're in it. So I certainly could have benefited from different techniques and whatnot. I don't know that I would have changed any other strategy. But it's an interesting question.
So what was your biggest takeaway then from this experience on the show?
Never surrender, never give up, keep on fighting no matter what. Paras told me that. That lesson came through loud and clear on the Tower Shake Challenge. I thought we were completely cooked until I saw him holding a base plate up to the side and tacking it in. I was like, okay, that's going to work technically. So let's go for it. And it saved the day. So, when all hope was lost, all hope was not lost. And so from that point on, it's just about fight for every inch.
I'm looking behind the two of you and I'm seeing a lot of Lego. Did you guys, I can tell that you're big fans, but did you guys ever go through a dark age?
Unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to go through a dark age. I literally started, I didn't have Lego when I was little. We didn't have any money. And, just typical immigrant family, And so I really got introduced to Lego, like I say, about maybe a little bit more than 5 years ago. Actually, well, I guess when my daughter was born, she just turned 9. And we just started playing. That's really when I just got introduced to it. And I just fell in love with it right since then. And then it's just been like, oh, this is so cool. It's just such an accessible product for anyone, for everyone. And there's not it's just it's like a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper. It's to that level. It's just accessible and allows you to get whatever's in here. And can't say enough of good things about the product. I really can't.
Yeah, I did have a dark age. In fact, in episode 1, I had to teach Will what a dark age meant because I talked about it. He didn't know what it was, so I had to explain it to him. So it was a little bit of Lego lingo that I was able to give to Will Arnett, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I entered my dark age around 12 or 13 in the mid 80s. I still have my original mock from my childhood. It's still in one piece and it's still here. But that dark age lasted until 5.5 years ago. And once again, it's through the kids that introduced me, and I fell head over heels into being an AFOL after I found my original memory of a childhood set at a thrift store, still in box, complete. And that just brought back all the feels. And from there, I just started collecting, and then eventually mock building.
So if you had to pick a favorite Lego set, what would it be?
My unicorn set, Town Plan, the original Samsonite set that introduced Lego to the United States. And that one is impossible to find, but I won't stop looking for it ever because it was manufactured by Samsonite. And some of the Samsonite sets were manufactured in Loveland, Colorado, just north of myself. Can't let it go.
Nor should you. Yeah, the set that I want is a complete set of all of my cast members' minifigs.
That's not exactly production ready, but we'll take it.
That's okay. That's the one that I really want. That's the one I want. I don't know if I'll ever get it, but
They're like great. Pokemon. We gotta collect them all.
Yeah, right.
Well, that was my 4 questions. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Hey, thanks so much for talking with us again.
Of course.
So a lot of the things I wanted to discuss have been covered, but a couple things I wanted to go into. Was there any moment that didn't get captured by the camera based on what was aired that you want to talk about?
How much time do we have?
JC, we're not allowed to talk about anything that didn't air. Is that correct?
I mean, anything.
Just like a fun moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whether it's hanging out with the cast or going to the Lego store together.
We're in quarantine, man. Come on, stop playing.
True.
Jesus. Paras, can you think of a specific moment?
Definitely in episode 2, we didn't really show up until the last few minutes of that episode. So I would have loved to have had our story come out a lot more, because there was a lot there. There was a lot of work that went into that dam. I think
I can share two. I'll share like the something that happened in the show and then a personal moment. So I was trying to think hard. So this made air. The robot head falling off made airtime. Okay. You saw one where it fell on the table. There was another one where it fell off the table and completely exploded. And then there was another one where the cameras weren't on us, and it was part of, transporting the model for the final display. And once again, head fell off, had to fix it. That was a harrowing experience, but it happened. And, I think it got succinctly captured, within the show narrative itself. But there was like, that was like a lesson learned, truly. Build your heads more strongly to not fall off. One of the personal moments, there are a lot, but my fondest memories of the show are when the clock winds down to 0 and it's hands off. There is a moment in time where there's a reset occurring, and you're able to walk around the gallery and see all the completed models from every team and really get in there and really see them as they are in person. And as a builder, you can see most of the techniques and a lot of the details that I think get missed just with the editing or the pace of it, especially in these early episodes. And those are the moments I really memorized and savored. Seeing everyone's completed builds as a cast, in incredible detail and up close and personal. And sadly, that can't be conveyed beyond that moment in time, but it's truly a special time.
Yeah, I would agree. All the off-camera moments, because there's obviously most of it's off-camera, right? The single greatest thing that I take with me, well, I guess it's certainly the friendships and all, but from a technical standpoint, is learning from everybody else's artistry. I still use that. I still remember all of that, and I try to implement them as much as I can, even now, and I'm still not done yet. I learned so much from watching everybody else and seeing how they did things, seeing how they thought, and just a lot of our discussions offline, the support, the love, we were helping each other, and I can't tell you how many times I got yelled at to not do that. Because it's a
I'll give you one, and I'll give you one last one in about 30 seconds. Paras and I were lying on the floor of the studio,
yes,
with our backs up against a pillar, and we were basically stargazing, only we were looking at the top of the set and all the rafters and the lighting kits and stuff. And I noticed something very unusual and pointed it out to Paras, and we won't say what it was because it wasn't captured on camera, but it's one of those random things that's kind of just fun and out of the world. And it's just one of those moments in time where you can do, or you have these strange little things that you're doing while you're, in between or getting ready to set up or getting ready to go or whatever. But just, it was kind of like stargazing on the floor of the Lego Master Studios. Probably one of the crazy fun memories I have with Paras, just kind of lying there next to him and just talking about stuff up in the ceiling.
No, that's awesome.
I definitely say, on episode 2, I wish more was made out of the sword. If you look at it carefully.
Yeah, we can go on and on. I'm just afraid we don't have the time. I'm looking at the clock and worried.
Yeah, that was really cool because we were on the floor with that moment. That's for sure.
All right. So next question, kind of going off of what you said, Moto, about like little details and stuff. Was there a detail in any of your builds that didn't get captured on the camera that you want to talk about?
I wondered if you want to go first.
I'll go for it.
The question is, are there any details that didn't make it on camera? I think the serpent's head was amazing. You have to pretty much freeze frame to see it really well. I do think Paras put a lot of effort into the fabric component of the hat, but you have to look top down to see all that detail. Unfortunately, a lot of the shots were bottom up, so that was probably missed. I think a lot of the groundwork, and there were rainbow color. When we did our dam build, there was rainbow magic, and there was actual colored stripes weaving through the base plates up into the dam itself. But it's not something that you would pick out with your eye unless you really, really paid attention. And like Paras said, having the brick come flying out and knock the sword out of the fig's hand, I think that was probably the closest call out of all the explosions. I think Brian and Lauren probably came in second with that tongue splitting against the detonator to save their character. But yeah, woulda, shoulda, coulda, it would have been nice if the fast forward and strip down editing kind of slowed on those two parts where the character was barely surviving because there was all this debris like flying past them. Good answer.
Did you have anything, Paras?
Got nothing to add.
Okay. Any favorite memories of interacting with Will Arnett and the Brickmasters that you want to share with us?
Will Arnett, yes. Can't repeat any of it. The guy's funny. The guy's funny and hysterical all the time.
Yeah.
But also he has a lot of heart, and he's actually a very generous and gracious host. He's very supportive when things are not going well for you, and he truly feels for you, and he truly understands the abilities everybody's bringing to it. It's almost like magic for him to see this stuff get built up over time.
Yeah, Jamie impressed me a number of times as well. Certainly his outfit during the fashion show was incredible. But no, when he's talking and he gives a review, I just noticed words from his descriptions. Like he knew exactly the experiences that we went through on creating certain things as far as techniques go. I didn't, and I learned really quickly. I didn't have to go into a lot of detail. I didn't really have to explain how we did this or how we did that. He could look at it and see it all the way through. That was impressive as well.
Yeah, there's nothing that gets by these guys. The Brickmasters are truly spectacular. That's what they do for a living. And if they're overseeing Lego designers, who are we compared to that? So yeah, I'm in awe of their majesty, and as well as Amy.
Me too.
If she gives you a compliment, like great color selection, it's like, okay, now I can go home now. Amy Colbert said, Amy said that my colors are good. That's all I need. Or she can, give you a criticism in one sentence and you're scrambling for the next 3 hours. It's these guys are powerful, and they're incredibly astute and know what they're doing, and we have a high regard for them.
Yeah, they're definitely well deserving of being the judges there. Last question, you mentioned earlier reuniting with some of your fellow contestants at conventions. Where can fans see you guys later this year?
Sure, I'll be I'll be at Brick Fair, Virginia for sure. And I'm definitely looking at a number of the other ones. What happened?
He got a reaction from one of the people.
Oh, good.
He was very happy that you said that.
No, I'll definitely be there, and as well as a number of others. I just don't know which ones those are going to be.
Sure. I will be at Brick Rodeo in Texas coming up in July. I will also be at Brick Slopes a few weeks later in Utah. I will be in an event I'm not going to talk about because it's a private one. I will then be toward the end of the year, Brickfest Live in Denver. And then next year, I'm looking forward to Chicago, the big convention. And that's probably going to be the largest rallying point for the season 2 cast members. So I know it's going to be a while into next year, but I believe that the Chicago convention is probably going to be the largest rallying point for the majority of the crew.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'll be there for sure. I'll try and make it to Bricks Cascade. And there's one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should have said I'm going to Bricks Cascades next year too. That's another event for next spring. Yeah. So we'll be around.
All right, fantastic. Thank you both so much, and thank you for representing engineers on the show. And it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Rock on.
Well, that'll wrap it up. That'll do it for this lovely episode. And hopefully you learned a few things from Moto and Paras and And just in general, you learned more about the characters, more about the people, more about the builder inside of them. And you learned more about what they are as a human. Because at the end of the day, even though they are on Lego Master, they are still human. And I got to tell you, these people are really, really good people. So if you don't know them and you are planning on going to Brick Rodeo, especially because they'll both be there, make sure you check them out. Make sure you be like, hey, Moto, hey, it's me. I'm over here. I'm your biggest fan. They're going to say hi to you. They're going to shake your hand. They may not have like a 20-minute conversation with you, but they're most definitely going to say, hey, what's up? How are you doing? And you have to roll with it. But with that said, we have a week off. There is no Lego Masters this coming week. They are on hiatus because of the holiday weekend. So we will be back the following week. So keep that on your schedule. And as always, I'm your Minifigure ghost, Matt. Let's build on it.